What's going on, everybody? I'm just coming by. Hope everybody's doing well wherever you are. Coming by to, share this bit of information I found on Twitter from a group called the Blocktown Capital. So the reason why I'm doing this video is because this list that I'm about to show you regarding, the richest Bitcoin list, or people who are considered rich according to how much Bitcoin they own. Because I didn't know, who had what, right? I didn't know who. I know there are people who are pro Bitcoin, but this list sort of gives an estimation on, who the members of this Bitcoin rich list, if you will, are, and how many Bitcoin they may have, respectively. And this is, first of all, I just want to say this is all entertainment purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm just sharing information regarding things that I'm interested in, all types of different topics. But this is specifically about cryptocurrency. Now, the world's richest billionaires list will look a lot different once or if Bitcoin hits $1 million. Satoshi will be worth over 1 trillion. The Winklevoss twins will be worth 3 times that of Mark Zuckerberg. Bulgaria's Bitcoin holdings will be worth more than all the gold in Fort Knox. Now, let's take a look at this list. Right? So, okay, we have on top Satoshi Nakamoto, which is the fictitious anonymous character or characters founder or founders, creators of Bitcoin. Satoshi's on top of this list. His or her or their Bitcoin holdings are 1.1 million Bitcoins in Satoshi Nakamoto's wallet, right? So if Bitcoin hits $1 million, net worth with Bitcoin at 250K, Satoshi's wallet would be 275 billion if it hits 250K. Net worth at 1 million would be 1.1 trillion. $1.1 trillion. That's where I guess they wrote that he or she or they will be the world's first trillionaire, I guess. So we go down the list. Bulgaria government, 213,519 Bitcoins. Bulgaria has a sizable amount of change right there, I guess, or I should say digital change or crypto on that wallet right there. 213,519. Wow. Winklevoss twins, the owners of the Gemini exchange, they have 176,000 Bitcoin holdings. Roger Ver, who's also a Bitcoin Cash person. At one point he was, they call him like the evangelical person in the Bitcoin Cash space. Because one time before Bitcoin forked into Bitcoin Cash, he was definitely a maximalist, if you will, for Bitcoin, but they forked. His wallet, Bitcoin holdings, It says here 50,000. Interesting. Followed by Barry Silbert. I don't know who that is. 48K in his wallet. Anthony Jalippi, 34,000. I don't know who Anthony Jalippi is. Tim Draper. I've seen his interviews on TV, and he's pro Bitcoin. And throughout social media, I've seen his interviews where he's definitely an advocate for Bitcoin. Says his wallet, is holding 30,000 Bitcoins. Charlie Shrem, another known person, has 20,000. And here we go right here. United States government. The United States government. I find that interesting. Has 10,000 Bitcoin. The U.S. has 10,000 Bitcoin. I'm going to get back to that. I'm just going through the list. Michael Novogratz has 10,000 Bitcoin in his wallet. And the Israeli government has 1,071 Bitcoin. Okay? All right. I don't know if, I mentioned those were estimates that but I see that the Bulgarian government and the Israeli government, the counts are, specific. They didn't round it off like the other amounts. So that's interesting. Wonder if those are specific numbers for everyone. So the United States government has 10,000, according to this, has 10,000 Bitcoin holding in their wallet. They're holding 10K. That's an example that should tell you, that alone should tell you, this could be pure speculation, right? Pure speculation. But why would the U.S. government hold 10K worth of Bitcoin? I wonder how much China is holding. I wonder how much Russia's holding. But it's just, if the United States has 10,000, and I hear often that, China, their percentage, they have a large percentage of the mining, of all the mining that's occurring as far as Bitcoin, the mining, that China is dominant in the percentage of miners that are actually, mining Bitcoin. I wonder what their wallet is looking like. I saw a video yesterday. It was I'm not gonna say. And this video was about Bitcoin. This particular person, he made a video, a blog about Bitcoin, and he tied it with women, and it's a pejorative statement that he used, and I'm not into profanity in my on this channel, so he equated Bitcoin and the pejorative term for female dog, and he prides himself on coining that term. So from now on, any female who's after money and who really has no value, he calls them a Bitcoin, quote unquote, female dog. Whatever. But in his video, he was saying how people are coming to him. This is a young guy, relatively. He was saying how, people are coming to him with Bitcoin, talking to him about Bitcoin, and he's asked every single person that brings up Bitcoin to him. What is Bitcoin? And no one could tell him anything. This is what he said. So he deduced that Bitcoin has no value. He's done absolutely no research. His research was based on conversations he's had with people who could not explain to him, who could not tell him what Bitcoin was and what allowed Bitcoin to have value. I, in turn, I like to share. I like to share information with people where I could fit in. And I took some time out. I didn't have to do this, but I took some time out to email the guy and just give a very short email, about I guess my take on Bitcoin from the information that's out there, right? And whatever, because from what he was saying, he was talking about how Bitcoin has no value whatsoever. One thing I could think off the top that gives Bitcoin value is the fact that the blockchain, understanding what blockchain is and how it's utilized, adds to the value of Bitcoin, right? The fact that Bitcoin is deflationary in nature due to its hard cap of 21 million. There will only be 21 million Bitcoin ever mined in existence. That adds to the value. Okay? These things are some of the factors that are driving governments and individuals to have so many coins in their holdings, in their wallets. And I just named two examples that can add value. When you're talking about the blockchain, you're talking about a record, a digital electronic record that can be accessed by anyone who has a computer anywhere in the world that records all the information that's done on the Bitcoin network, the Bitcoin core network, or the Bitcoin network since Genesis block, since the first block was ever produced to date. And you can see all the transactions that have ever been made there. It's a record that you can't ever change. All transactions are irreversible. I mean, the list goes on. It's just you, your Bitcoin, the other person and their Bitcoin. You doing a transaction. 1, 2, 3. No third parties involved. It can't be hacked as far as so the guy was speaking out of just misinformation or lack of information, and I dare say ignorance. But that's not the point of this video. What I'm saying is this list is indicative, and I don't want to make this video too long, but this list right here is indicative of what's going on behind the scenes. What's going on behind the scenes? I've heard people tell me that, Bitcoin and this cryptocurrency stuff is play money. Bitcoin and this cryptocurrency stuff is made for criminals and drug pushers, and drug dealers, and people who are involved with nefarious activities use Bitcoin because they want to hide their monies. Their monies can't be tracked. They could hide from the law, right? That doesn't stop paper money or fiat money to be utilized to conduct criminal activity. So I've never understood that argument. I never understood when people use that as a form of argument, but I digress. This is what is happening behind the scenes. You have banks like JP Morgan. Uh, the head of JP Morgan claimed that Bitcoin was a scam. And at the same time, the head of JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, claimed that Bitcoin was a scam, right? And at the same time, Chase was accumulating Bitcoin quietly in the European market. Okay? So, and now, and now, JP Morgan is issuing their own JPM coin cryptocurrency. So what happened? What all of a sudden, well, it's not all of a sudden, but now what was once considered a scam, they're now investing in a blockchain in crypto. But I thought the cryptocurrency, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is just a big scam. These things are very telling. It's showing you where things are headed. It's showing you, this shows me the U.S. government, for the U.S. government to, even if it's just for entertainment purposes, 10,000 Bitcoin in their wallet. Bitcoin today is upwards of $5,000. So you could already have an idea of what that amount of Bitcoin is worth relative to the United States dollar. So if you're the U.S. government, Bulgarian government, because remember, and Israeli government, because remember, Bitcoin was created to be against oligarchs, against central banking, against government rule. You know, Bitcoin was created to go against inflationary tools by way of the dollar that's just being infinitely printed, that's not backed by the gold standard, that hasn't been backed by the gold standard since the beginning of the 20th century. Okay? This is indicative of what's happening, of what the future is going to look like. An idea of this internet virtual currency, this internet digital monies, this internet type of assets. This is why I've been, making videos about this for a number of times, because it's fascinating. It's just as fascinating as when the internet first became wildly known and introduced to the world, the World Wide Web. Cryptocurrency is going to change that as well. This is not something that's going to topple the dollar, in my belief, in my opinion, overnight. Excuse the noise in the background. This is not something that's going to topple the dollar. This may take, decades, you know, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. But crypto is not going anywhere. Crypto's not going anywhere. Imagine if one Satoshi, reaches parity with the US dollar. One Satoshi reaching parity with the US dollar. If you do the math, the numbers are staggering. That would mean that if that should ever happen, where one Satoshi is equal to $1, one US dollar, one Bitcoin would be worth $100 million. So that's a considerable, hefty amount of change right there. Mm-mm-mm. At best, you know, reading about it, I think is very important. Reading about it, learning about it is very important. There's still a this is a small market. What I'm saying is, from what I've gathered, is a very small amount of people. They say the estimate, I don't know how they can, quantify the amount of individuals who are into crypto now, but the numbers are, I've read 1% of the population, not even US, of the global population is involved with crypto. Can you imagine when this expands, when more users become familiar with cryptocurrency, with Bitcoin, and applying it in their everyday life? Can you imagine when that rate hits a certain scale, how this thing can explode? I mean, it's just like the internet. When I remember the internet becoming widely adopted, in the beginning stages, let's say, for example, when America Online was a thing, or Netscape, Lycos, and from what I remember, in the early 90s, um, the internet was a bit, you have the dial-up modem, then you have to get familiar with DSL, T1 lines, and ISB stuff. It was a kind of like a difficult and interesting learning curve. It was a bit challenging in the beginning to get involved with in setting up emails. And see, for some people, they're very resistant. Even to this day, you have individuals who, they don't use cell phones, and some have smartphones and are not really. It's challenging for them to, create emails on their smartphones and to, navigate through the system. So the internet, in the beginnings, it was a bit challenging too. It was clunky. That's how it is now with cryptocurrency. There's no mistake about it. There's a huge learning curve that's involved with understanding crypto, Bitcoin, and all the altcoins. There's a huge, huge learning curve in your understanding what Bitcoin is, what crypto is, what the different types of crypto, the top 10 or the top 100. There are upwards of 2,000 out there. Some won't last, and some will. But how do you store your crypto? What exchanges do you use? The different methods of storage. Cold storage by way of, hardware wallets, or paper, or some say the best is keeping it in memory. There's a huge learning curve memorizing your private keys, or just having ownership of your private keys. Ultimately, substantiates the fact that you own your crypto. You have no one else, not leaving it on an exchange, because exchanges get hacked. It's a language. It's a new culture. But I think it's important for people to become more familiar with the information, more familiar with what's out there. I know this video is long, and I didn't intend on having this video so long, but a lot of information is out there regarding crypto, and it's expanding every day. Every day. There's talks about the banks having, they're convening today in Congress, and there was a whole, group of people that criticized them heavily because, you have politicians who are not really clear on why the banks were bailed out. They're asking, the heads of these banks questions like overdraft. how much overdraft like, it's just weird. It's just weird. It's just weird. It's showing you that, people are predicting another collapse with the stock market, another collapse with the banking system, the dollar collapsing. This is what caused Bitcoin to be created, at the tail end of the 2008 banking crisis where the banks were bailed out. This is what spawned Bitcoin and crypto. It's part of the history where the white paper was introduced to the world by Satoshi Nakamoto again. Why, if this thing is such make-believe, why do you have this estimates of how many coins these people have, or these governments, these individuals are holding in their wallets? This also shows you that there won't be enough Bitcoin to go around for everyone to have one Bitcoin. That's just that by virtue of these numbers here, by virtue of all the Bitcoin that has been lost, there's no way that everyone will be able to have one. Again, the finite number, that hard cap, that by itself, when the demand increases, the price is going to be astronomical. That's just my opinion. Should the demand increase, Bitcoin, people wanting to have Bitcoin, the price is going to be through the roof. That's why you see all these crazy numbers, like 1 million per Bitcoin, 2 million, 100 million, 250,000, 100,000, 50,000. Because this is something the world has never seen before. This is introducing a whole new paradigm shift from the economic structure today as we know it. This challenges, it topples everything over regarding the old school traditional financial structure, or structures, I should say, worldwide. Different governments are buying into Bitcoin, acquiring Bitcoin, mining Bitcoin. Should it one day become the world currency? What's the future going to look like? And then here we are. This is happening around us, people. This is happening around us, whether we want to admit it or not. Again, like I said, what's giving Bitcoin value? In addition to it being a deflationary asset, in addition to it being only 21 million Bitcoins, is limited supply, you have a community of people who are using it to make transactions, believe it or not. It's recorded on the blockchain. It's all recorded. You have people who are using it. They're using it. You have governments who are secretly, quietly acquiring it. Because I don't know how this group got these figures. I don't know how they got it, but they got it. And then there's ranking, the rank on, at the far end of the list, rank on world rich list projected. They have numbers of ranks. Number one, the next not applicable, then number two. There's a list of people. This is not the total, So people, I just think it's important for us to really understand what's going on, and not be afraid to at least learn about it. Learn about it. Because I don't think it's going anywhere. I don't think it's going anywhere. If Cash App has the feature where you can also send and receive Bitcoin, when we talk about Cash App, if Bitcoin is being compared to the traditional financial payment processors such as Visa, MasterCard, and the most recent PayPal. Now you have Cash App. If Bitcoin within 10 years is being compared to Visa, MasterCard, and Visa that was introduced in the 50s, MasterCard that was introduced in the 60s, PayPal came on board late 90s, and you have this 10-year-old virtual currency called Bitcoin in the race. Within 10 years, people are comparing Bitcoin to Visa and MasterCard and where it could be, how far it can evolve and advance in the future. It's very telling. People, listen, I'm just going to I'm going to just continue to share information. This is all, again, for informational, educational purposes. I'm not a financial advisor, just, you know, this information is out there for those who find it interesting. If you like the content and the information on my channel, don't hesitate to subscribe and leave a comment. Let me know what you think, yay or nay. Okay? I hope you remain well, and I'll talk to you next time.